What happens when you're born into a family that's been idolized and scandalized for decades? For Brandon Thomas Lee, the son of Pamela Anderson and Tommy Lee, fame wasn't a dream, it was a burden. But the way he's flipped that burden into something entirely different might be the boldest move this family has ever made. And it's a side of the story you've probably never heard. Before we get into the chaos, imagine this. Your parents' most private moments are world famous before you can even walk. For Brandon, that wasn't just awkward, it was his normal. From the moment Brandon entered the world, his life was already a headline. Pamela Anderson was Baywatch's golden girl. Tommy Lee was the wild heartbeat of Mötley Crüe, and the media couldn't get enough. Their love story burned fast and bright, and just as quickly, it crashed. By the time Brandon could understand the cameras, they were already chasing every detail of his family's chaos. Most kids run from family drama. Brandon? He decided to run straight toward building something entirely different. Tommy Lee has never been one to hold back. When California wildfires destroyed entire neighborhoods, most celebrities offered polished condolences. Tommy? He called out those using the disaster for publicity, naming names and ignoring the fallout. That same unfiltered energy has made him both loved and hated for decades. And if you think that's the wildest thing about him, wait until you hear about the marriage rumor that had half the internet convinced Tommy was being played. Even his marriage to Brittany Furlan faced whispers after a bizarre catfishing scandal. The rumors grew until they shut them down in the most unexpected way. Pamela Anderson has been reinventing herself for years, but nothing prepared fans for her 2024 transformation. Stepping into the last showgirl, she delivered a performance that had critics stunned, and for the first time in years, the conversation wasn't about her swimsuit. It was about talent, but the most controversial moment of her career? It happened without a single word being spoken. While Hollywood's elite arrived in full glam, Pamela showed up completely barefaced. Some saw it as a bold stand against beauty standards. Others accused her of calculated shock value. The truth? She nearly wore makeup, but changed her mind at the last second. What would you do if one choice in a dressing room could set the internet on fire? For Pamela, it was worth the risk. That night, she owned the spotlight without saying a single word, and it was just the beginning of her boldest career move yet. Pamela signed onto the emotional drama Place to Be and joined the cast of the Naked Gun reboot with Liam Neeson. Off-screen, she began shaping a softer, lifestyle-driven brand with a cooking show and cookbook on the way. It's hard to believe this is the same woman whose name was once synonymous with wild 90s beach drama. But just as she was perfecting her new image, an old Hollywood story resurfaced, and it threatened to overshadow everything. Pamela claimed that Sylvester Stallone once offered her a condo and a Porsche to be his #1 girl. He flatly denied it. She stood firm. The truth? Still up for debate, and while the headlines dissected the claim, her son Brandon was making a decision that could either protect his family or pull him right back into the spotlight, away from the chaos. Brandon was building something entirely different. Sobriety gave him focus, and he began acting and producing projects that mattered to him, not to the tabloids. In an industry where oversharing is currency, his refusal to play the fame game might be his strongest move yet. But if history tells us anything, the Lee Anderson family never stays quiet for long. And Brandon might not be able to either. Pamela, Tommy, and Brandon are more than just a famous family. They're proof that fame can either crush you or teach you to control it. Tommy thrives on chaos. Pamela thrives on reinvention. Brandon thrives on stepping back when the spotlight's too hot, and maybe that's the real twist here. In a world desperate to define them, they've already defined themselves.